Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome. It's actually Chris sitting in for Steve today. So myself, Becky Brown, Dr. Alice Benton.
Howdy.
How you guys doing?
Very well.
Doing well.
Good.
It's a rainy day here, and I just would like the spring rains to bring all the flowers.
Oh, yeah.
What we're looking forward to, right?
Tulips especially. I love when the tulips come up.
Raining in Ohio while we're hitting high 90s today in Southern California. So the baseball practices will be interesting and probably short this afternoon around here. So not to burn out the 7 and 8 year olds. But speaking of kids, I got this issue I need help with.
Lay it out for us.
Okay, Alice, you ready?
Yep.
Screen time.
Mm-hmm.
Screen time. I mean, they're I don't know where they get it from, wink, wink, but they seem to already be addicted to their screen time. Like any downtime, it's like, can I have a phone? Can I have an iPad? Can I have a TV? Can I play a game? What do I do about this?
I'm glad you give us the wink wink because it does start with us parents. And truly, the statistics show us that 1 in 4 of us parents and our kids is already at a level of what's called problematic screen use, which is a step below addictive screen use. Most of us are so drawn to digital distraction, and we have such a habit going already as parents that we have sort of set the stage, unfortunately, for our children. The draw is understandable. It's incredibly entertaining, and a lot of social media and video games are set up to be addicting. Some of the people at the highest levels of Instagram and Google and Facebook have actually revealed that their brain hackers are devising plans to make our use addictive, because the whole point is to get our time, to get our eyes, to get our attention. But just like any addictive behavior, some of the solutions to it are learning ourselves first and teaching our children how to emotionally soothe, how to receive relational comfort rather than turning just to digital distraction. And then there are boundaries that need to be set into place. And one technique that I just love to use and love to teach other people because it's so effective is leveraging that high desire for screen time. So my kids get annoyed with this, but they know this is the pattern in our house. I want to play video games. I want to use the iPad. Sure you can, after you have completed these tasks. And the overall general understanding is also, yes, you're welcome to a limited privilege of screens as long as you're being obedient, respectful, and grateful for the screens I allow you to share with me.
Yeah.
It's parental authority. It's not child ownership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
It's so hard, too. You guys, I'm of a different generation. And so when I was raising my kids, we didn't have the screen in the hands. We had the TV, obviously. But I've noticed in the culture where we are using screens as babysitters. It started with the screens in the cars. It started with, like, I was at the airport the other day, and, we're waiting in the airport waiting area, and the child has the headphones and the screen in front of them. And it's tempting to use that as a babysitter.
Well, it's an
but I love what you have suggested.
Yeah,
exactly. But I love what you've suggested, Alice, that you're teaching your kids that they can live without that entertainment or that dopamine hit. And it's something that we as adults could also learn from as well.
Absolutely. And Alice, you're coming out with Steve with a book, right?
We sure are. Understanding and loving your child in a screen-saturated world.
Excellent. And what are other resources?
Well, there are anonymous groups, just like 12-step groups for screen addiction. So if you yourself or you believe your children have already crossed that line from problematic to addictive screen use, we can apply the 12 steps to treat it and to bring you back from that brink.
That's excellent. So be following Alice. She has some great resources out there for you, and we'll be back to help you right after this break.
My son went to prison when he was 19 years of age, and he died. And he's my only child. I blame remind myself every day that I failed as a mother.
Are you overwhelmed by the intense feelings of grief? You're not alone.
We do think that we can handle all the stuff because it just kind of accumulates over time. And you've had repeated losses.
The New Life Transforming Grief online workshop is Saturday, May 7th. You'll get tools to help you understand and process your grief and a community to travel through the valley with you. Let New Life help you process your loss, begin a journey of acceptance, and learn how to extend the comfort you've received to help others grieve and rebuild their lives too. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, 1-800-639-5433, or online at newlife.com. 1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Chris Williams here with Becky Brown, Dr. Alice Benton, and we're about to be on with Freddie, listening in Los Angeles, California, one of our favorite stations, KKLA. Freddie, are you there?
Yes. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Thankful to be on your show. I love what you guys do. I appreciate what you guys do. I hear your show every day on KKLA. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Excellent. How can we help you?
Well, I've been struggling with this issue since I was a teenager. I'll say since I was 15, 16. It's been hard for me to talk about. It's been like a secret that I've been having, but I've been struggling with a masturbation problem, and I'm trying to overcome it, but it's so hard. I mean, I've been trying to do semen retention, all this stuff, but it's still hard. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's really challenging. Like, I'm trying to overcome it, but I just don't know what to do because I want to get a girlfriend, but I'm like, no, I'm not ready because I don't want the girl to think I'm a person that just thinks about lusting or being sexual. You know, I don't want to be that. So I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard to figure out, Freddie, because it can be very complicated. Because a lot of times what happens is it's the if I can say this, the male orgasm is pretty powerful because of all of the neurotransmissions that happen in the brain, all of the chemicals and the feelings that those chemicals provide. You know, if there was a drug out there that replicated the dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, GABA, and oxytocin kick that experience does, I mean, there'd be overdoses everywhere, right? So I'm just saying that there's hardly a drug on planet Earth that can compete with what that experience has done for you when you were 15, 16, and it has become this patterned way to cope with yourself, cope with your emotions, and how you're experiencing the world. So there is this really important, I talk about a lot, first principle of recovery, and that is to recognize when we are powerless. And so I'm so glad you called today, Freddie, because I don't want you to suffer any longer with this and with the powerlessness of trying to do everything you can on your own to overcome it and experience failure over and over and over again. So you've come to the right place.
And Freddie, as you know, listening to New Life, your struggle is so commonplace. So you are not at all alone in what you are going through, but it's actually the few and the brave that are willing to admit it and do something about it. So that is unique in that aspect. Freddie, tell me, even though sexual urges and sexual exploration is pretty darn common at 15 years old, I suspect that there was more going on in your life. I suspect that there was some chaos and distress around you and that you were needing comfort, you were needing a way to soothe. What was happening in your life around that time?
When I was 15, I mean, my parents were going through a lot. I mean, I guess, yeah, you're very right. I didn't know what to look up to, so I guess that was the only soothing thing to do, which I know is kind of like, I wish I wouldn't have done that, looking back at it, and I'm still struggling to this day, but it was just a lot. I mean, I guess recently I've been doing it more because of the pandemic and I guess my dog passing away, so it's just been a lot, and plus I have anxiety now, so sometimes it does soothe me. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm trying to figure out what else can I do, you know, because.
So, Freddie, you just
go ahead.
I mean, I was just thinking when you were talking about just the progression, I was thinking you're dealing with anxiety. This is the way that you're coping with your anxiety. And it's very, very normal that there's a lot of anxiety that's going on because of the pandemic, because of the culture that we live in. And you have found something at a young age that helped you at that time, but it's not helping you now because now it's causing you more anxiety. So I'm wondering, what have you done? Have you sought a counselor? Have you, read anything? Like what attempts have you made, or are you just trying to go cold turkey?
Well, basically what I've been trying to do is I pray every morning now and read the Bible. I just try to have a connection with God, try to communicate with him about it. I do a lot of meditation, yoga, but I don't know. I just feel like it still doesn't. I mean, I've been watching videos of how to do semen retention, and it still is still challenging, I don't know.
So, Freddie, you say that you listen to us, right? Have you ever considered Every Man's Battle?
I heard about it, but I'm just not sure. I think I should now that you brought it up, though. I really should check it out and see how it works for me.
Freddie, this thing is custom designed for you. It's custom designed for your heart, for your soul, and for what you are struggling with right now. And also to what Alice was saying is that you're not alone. And into what you heard them, Becky and Alice say, it's like there's so much more going on underneath all of this that needs to be addressed.
Right.
And Every
Man's Battle is going to be in Orange County in May 13th, so right around the corner.
Because, Freddie, we all turn to something for comfort, whether it's alcohol, drugs. We were talking about screens at the beginning of the show, sexual pleasure. We all turn to something to help us deal with our internal discomfort. But God's way of us dealing with that internal discomfort is, you're on the right track, turning to him, certainly. But the missing piece is turning to relationship, which you're starting right here with us today.
Yeah.
And repetitive confession and seeking relational comfort from other men who can understand, help hold you accountable, lift you up, and encourage you. That's where we see breakthrough take place with any addictive behavior.
Yeah, it's just I'm trying to overcome it, and I want to be like a better person, and just I want to get a girlfriend. I'm like, no, I'm not ready because I don't want her to think I'm just there for her to be sexual. I don't want her to think that way.
Of course, and Freddie, you are on the right track, and it's what I refer to as non-sexual intimacy, right? And we learn that it's so critical to our lives and our well-being. And in fact, ironically, there is this study that Harvard has been doing, and we're, I think, in the 6th generation. It's the longest study ever done on human behavior. And it really addresses human thriving, what creates health over a lifetime. And this study has shown over and over and over and over again that the quality of life that a person experiences on the positive end is directly correlated to the positive relationships that they have in their life. Our relational health is health. And so, and again, it outweighs almost any other factor in our lives. And so, Freddie, the introduction into something like that, I learned that in the rooms of 12-step recovery, ironically enough. And then in other programs like Every Man's Battle. And so it's really important. We're going to open that door wide for you. We're going to give you a scholarship today to Every Man's Battle in Orange County so that nothing is in the way of you experiencing this great gift of recovery and health.
No, appreciate it. It's just, I just want to, overcome this, because I don't want to be I've been doing this my whole life, That's why I told myself this morning, I need to do something about it, or else it's just going to keep being. It's like addiction, basically, kind of like the alcohol or drug.
That's exactly.
I confess today that it is.
That's exactly what it is. And you welcome to recovery. You did it.
Yeah.
You just did
right.
it. The first step. I'm powerless against this thing. My life is unmanageable. I got to do something else.
And you know what, Freddie? Maybe the next step, I want you to go to Every Man's Battle, but maybe in the meantime, find a Sex Addicts Anonymous group or even an AA group and begin the process. We have life recovery groups all over the country that you can begin this today. I mean, like Chris just said, you've started because you are ready to give up this process that's not been helpful. I mean, it's been helpful on one, but you want to be a better man. We want you to be a better man.
Absolutely. So, Freddie, thank you so much for calling in today. We're going to send you a copy of Every Man's Battle. We're also going to send you a Life Recovery Bible. And
good idea.
And I'm just going to jump in here, Becky. Hey, everyone out there, we just gave out a scholarship. There are other people that are suffering. And maybe it's directly related to their suffering or life circumstances or whatever the case may be. They desire a life-transforming workshop, but they just don't have the resources, the financial resources to make it happen, or at least make it happen right now. This is where we come in. We don't want anyone to not attend one of our workshops or attend something that we offer because finances is a barrier, but we need your help. We need your help to our scholarships. We need your help to stay on the radio. We need your help to join with us and be a part of providing hope and healing in life's hardest places. So please consider a donation, and that you can write that specifically to our scholarship program or just an overall donation. And
and we're asking for the month of April. We have a gift for any amount. It's Laura Manja McDonald's book called The Heart Handbook. And Laura is one of our Restore speakers. She's one of our network counselors, an amazing woman. And in this book, she goes through that process of where scripture and sound psychological and counseling meet to heal the heart and the wounds that we have. We want you to be transformed. That's what the whole ministry is about. And we appreciate all you who are already giving, but maybe you haven't given yet. And maybe you've thought, you know what? I need to do that. Well, today would be the day. You can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could go online to newlife.com and donate there. But all of your money will go to helping people find new life, finding transformation for their life. That's what we're all about. And, we have a great family of Club New Life members who give on a monthly basis, and you can join Club New Life for just a gift of $30 or more a month. You can be part of the giving family. And sometimes that's just a better way to do it because then you don't have to think about it. And I hear from our Club New Life folks all the time that say, it's the least I can do for all that New Life has done for me. One woman in particular I just spoke with the other day, she's been giving, probably 20 years, just a small amount every month. And it adds up. And I think the money that she has given over the years represents all of the people that have been helped because of New Life, whether it's on a radio program. We had a radio caller the other day. Her friend referred her to us. She's never listened to us before, but she was able to call us and get help for her family. So if you haven't given already, I want to challenge you. Today's the day. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or go to newlife.com and be part of the generosity of helping people find a new life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that, we're going to continue helping people. We're going to go to Joe in Baltimore, Maryland. Joe, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well. Joe, how can we help you today?
Well, first I want to say thank you for all the work that you all are doing over there for helping folks. My particular issue is, so I've been married for 5 months now, and my wife will not consummate the marriage with me. And we did the whole premarital counseling thing with our pastor and everything. But she seems to be crippled by fear. And so I've taken her to a counselor, and she's, going to the counselor, and hopefully that goes well. But there doesn't really seem to be any progress on the front that I can see, and I'm just honestly growing increasingly desperate. I know I didn't get married for sex, and that'd be just stupid. It's more of a meaningful relational partnership, but I know God planned for sex to be part of like an emotional intimacy that can only be experienced with your spouse, and I just feel like I'm missing out on that level of intimacy with my wife, and I'm just not really sure how much longer I can last. To be quite honest, it feels like we're roommates at this point because we're just living together. Nothing really makes us husband and wife other than like the rings we wear on our fingers. So I'm just. If you have any advice, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Becky,
Joe, yeah. I want to know what has she told you. We're going to go to a break, but I just want to know what she has told you the reason for this not happening?
She just says she's afraid, and we've only actually had to try once. She only made time to try the act once. She just says she's afraid. The one time we tried, she started crying in fear.
Yeah.
And she has no past sexual trauma or anything like that. She's never been sexually active before this. We're both virgins, but you know.
But you know what, though, Joe? She may have had some trauma that she doesn't realize, and that may be something that's coming up at that point. I don't know, but there's a lot of fear that she's dealing with, even with seeking help. It's really a challenge. I want to encourage you. We're going to take the break and come back, but don't give up quite yet, because I think that there is hope.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live, and we're talking with Joe right now. Joe's in a tough spot. I mean, tough situation that you've been married for 5 months, and that you haven't been able to consummate your marriage, and that physical intimacy is really missing there. And Joe, that is a painful thing. Becky asked, what do you know about her? So, hey, we can't find any sexual trauma. But I'm just curious, what message did your wife grow up with around sex?
Well, her dad's actually a pastor, so she grew up very conservative, that whole save it till marriage type deal. So nothing like too out of the ordinary. It's just someone who'd grown up in the church, nothing crazy.
Yeah. And what message did you grow up with?
Same thing. I grew up in the church that it was meant to be saved for marriage and to be enjoyed in marriage.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And so what happens, Joe, is we 24 hours later we're married, and it's supposed to be the greatest thing in the world. And yet we have all of these messages in our head that we have to overcome. Now, I am all for saving it for marriage because there's so much difficulty that comes with premarital sex that we hear about all the time. But this isn't a hopeless situation, Joe. I just think that you both have to have new messaging about what this means. And my suggestion would be not to send her to counseling, but have the two of you go to counseling and to talk about how can we connect on an intimate level. Not the first part isn't physical. It's literally, how do we connect intimately, emotionally, spiritually, so that we can turn down the anxiety level, so that it is going to be a mutual expression of your love together.
And Joe,
absolutely, I agree 100%. And I've actually been to a couple of the sessions with her about that, and so we're working on that. I guess my issue more or less is, I am attracted to my wife, and I do sleep in the same bed as her, and it's just, I'm not really sure how to sublimate those desires right now, because, I do have those desires for my wife. She's beautiful, and I love her, and it's just, I'm not really sure, is there a way? 'Cause I know this will take time, and I'm for the process. I'm not going to leave her or anything like that. I don't know really what to do in the meantime, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
Joe, you do need a regular outlet for your frustration and your anger at the injustice of your situation. Here you have been faithful up to and through marriage, and yet you're not receiving the benefits of married life as you were promised that you would. So you have legitimate reason to be angry and physically frustrated. And it's important that you're talking about that regularly with other men who can receive it, who can be understanding, and who can be companions for you on this journey, because it's going to take longer than you or your wife want it to. Now, on your wife's side, I want to talk about emotions in general, because on the surface, they often seem illogical. How could this be scary? You're in love with each other. Come on, what's the big deal? But emotions always make sense if we dig deep enough. And I imagine that her fear expands beyond just sexual intimacy, that she may have experienced a higher level of fear and anxiety, even grown up in a good Christian family, and perhaps has not known how to handle and manage her fear. And so you're seeing a big presentation of fear that doesn't seem to make sense given the circumstances. But what she'll need to do with her counselor and with you in safe conversation is explore the roots of the fear. And I want to make sure that you get a copy of How We Love, because the comfort circle leads us to that emotional intimacy that Becky and Chris have been talking about, and it does it in a safe way while helping you to manage your understandable frustration and anger.
Well, and I was thinking along that same line, Alice, that they would be great candidates to go to our intimacy and marriage workshop, because there is a process, Joe, that you're going to have to go through in order to connect with each other, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And How We Love goes through those things that prevent us from really being intimate with our spouses. And I think it could be very helpful for both of you. And I don't know if that gives you hope, or if you still think, I want a different answer.
I want to bring up one other point, and your counselor will probably address this or has already, that there can be physical pain involved in sexual activity for women especially, and there can be related medical problems that can make it practically impossible to actually complete intercourse. And so making sure to have a full physical for that very reason can help at least eliminate some diagnoses.
Yeah, that's really, really important. And I think that, Becky and I were talking, or the three of us were talking actually about this, and that is when we get the message about what sex is not, sort of a prohibition message before marriage, oftentimes what's absent, critically absent from it, is what it actually is. It is two people learning about themselves and each other and their bodies and pleasure over the course of an entire life, because our bodies and our lives and our circumstances change. And so physical intimacy can be so much more than just what we picture as sex, and it's important that we have the freedom and the safety to be able to explore that in our marriages. And so
and it's not what Hollywood has put out there as well. Absolutely.
So Joe, thank you so much for calling in. We are going to send you a copy of How We Love, and again, we highly, highly encourage anyone out there struggling in their marriage in any way, Intimacy and Marriage, July 22nd through the 24th. It's going to be in Washington, D.C. My wife and I have benefited greatly from this. We know you can too. And we will be right back right after this.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop A lot of people are you could literally say, in bondage from past trauma that has created an emotional web that they don't understand, and it prevents them from being free. A person that loses their temper regularly is not emotionally free. Someone who has anxiety just to get in the car and leave the house is not emotionally free. And walking around with the shame from a childhood or even a bad relationship as an adult, that is not emotional freedom, and we can help you get there.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, April 30th. Steve Arterburn, Chris Williams, and Dr. Jackie Mack-Harris will present information on the power of our emotions, procrastination, guilt and shame, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or register online at newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the Life Recovery Bible personal size, the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional, the New Life Journal, a New Life pen and highlighter, and a New Life zipper tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Again, we were just talking with Joe. And again, this is a very important discussion. There is a lot of messaging that we get in the world today around marriage, around relationships, but specifically around sex. And a lot of competing views. But we come back to what is healthy and what it is and what it's not. And so I think that when there are periods of time, especially in marriages, that we need to abstain from what we traditionally refer to as intercourse. That could be for health reasons. It could be a lot of different reasons. So what as men do we do with that? And I think that we kind of think that like, well, there's only one option. No, there's a bunch of options. And Alice, you had mentioned, connecting with other guys, talking about the frustration, talking about the disappointment. But the other aspect of that is, sex is tied to pleasure. There's other ways of pleasure. And this is why we have to manage our stress levels in our life. And one of the ways that we can best manage our stress is to develop good recreation. If you're a golfer, get on the golf course, for goodness sakes. If you're a hiker, get out in nature. Whatever, if you don't have something, discover something. Because all of that helps manage our well-being in really significant ways.
I think few leaders in the Christian community talk about sexless marriages, which are actually fairly common, and creative approaches to sexuality within marriage.
That's really important, Alice. Yes.
A lot of us learn that it's not supposed to be fun. We can't get creative in how we approach each other sexually within a marriage. And we have to open up those conversations, which Mylon and Kay do beautifully in the Intimacy and Marriage Weekend.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Becky, you were mentioning that as well. It's like some of the messaging that we get, but some of the messaging we don't get.
Marriage is so complex, and sexual, and our sex lives are so complex, and it's just like what Mylon says all the time. Marriage is a collision of history, and so you've got everything from victimization to whatever the messaging was, to experiences. We talk about this all the time with Every Man's Battle, and then also what people have seen in their own parents or in the structure of their community. So here's the thing. if you're married and you're struggling in your sex life, there is help, but you have to ask for it, and you're not the only one that's suffering with it. And I think that's the big headline there, because I think so many times it feels like I am doing something wrong and I can't ask anybody. We're the only ones, and I just want to encourage you, if this is a struggle for you, it's, sex is a good barometer for marriage. If it's not happening, do you have a reason why it's not happening? If there is a complication in it, whether it's betrayal or whether it's trauma, what are you doing to work to heal that connection with your spouse? It's very important.
Yeah.
I want to call us wives up on this as well, because we can very easily allow our lives to be consumed with children, with excuses, with resentment because of our physical discomfort, all of which are legitimate barriers to a healthy sexual marriage. But we can't allow that to be the excuse to avoid. And it can be intimidating if there's been a period without sex in a marriage. It can be very intimidating to try again to re-engage at that level with our spouse. But we women also need to understand the sexuality of our husbands and the needs that they have and the difficulty if we do live in a sexless marriage. We have an obligation as wives, especially as we have decent, kind, healthy husbands, to figure this problem out together with them and not just to avoid it, which is a temptation of ours, I believe.
Yeah, and I think that can be a temptation with men as well. And that's why things like Every Man's Battle exists. And recovery is necessary, because we can become avoidant and go to other things like pornography, masturbation, affairs, whatever, any other form of sexual acting out, as again, just avoidant of the real tough work and important work of connecting with our wives and connecting at that deeper level that is so important, and understanding our wives, because again, this is part of the messaging. If for a man, sex exists so that I can have pleasure, right? Then I don't need another person. But this is why it's important that we recover the meaning of it, is so that we can enjoy deep closeness with another person. That obviously includes an emotional closeness, a spiritual closeness, and a physical closeness. And to your point, Alice, that in that physical closeness, there's many options that we can explore, because each of our bodies they have similarities, but they also have uniquenesses to them as well. And as you're saying, Becky, the histories collide. It's important to know that how our bodies show up in relationship is really important, and there needs to be an awareness, a responsibility, and then a growth process through that. And that's why I say it's two people getting to know themselves and each other over the course of an entire lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah. So really, really important. So we're going to go right back to the phone. We're going to go to Albertina, listening to us in Long Beach, California on KKLA. Albertina, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How can we help you today?
Hello? Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
How can we help you today?
For right now, I think most of all, I need really prayers for me to have a strength, because I'm living right now as a nightmare because of the mother of my grandson that he died 2 years ago. And he died because of drugs. I found him in the room dead.
Oh.
And now she's blaming me and take me to the court, saying that it was my fault that my grandson died, and she's suing me for $2,025,000.
Oh my goodness!
And I'm a 70-year-old lady, and I'm living right now in agony, anxiety, and I have so much panic attacks right now.
Yes. Albertina, who lives with you?
Nobody.
You're alone?
He was the only one lived with me 2 years ago. He was 20 years old, and I was retired, especially to help him out from drugs.
Oh, wow.
And he was doing good until that night. That I don't know what happened.
Oh, man. Well, that is an incredibly heartbreaking loss for you as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single day I have in my my mind a picture of him the way I found him dead.
Oh, yes.
And-
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes. And
Albertina,
the mother
do you-
tried
do
to
you-
sue me first under my house insurance, and she cannot do anything. So now I received this court papers from her.
Albertina?
Yes.
Albertina, do you have any friends or, a church family or any other community around you?
I attend Calvary Chapel in South Bay, but besides that, no, I never contact with anybody there.
Okay, I think, it's a devastating experience because you were going to help. I want to know just one more logistical question. Is this your daughter or your son's wife or your son's mother of his child?
Yeah, the mother of my son's child, yes.
Okay, and
Not my
where is your
daughter.
son?
He's living his life, and I don't want him to get involved because she's really mean, and I'm afraid that she can go against my son's baby daughter.
Albertina,
So much.
we are so willing to pray for you, but we're not willing to stop there because you're not asking for enough for yourself. And it's understandable that you're not, because you're trying to handle this on your own so as to protect other people from getting involved within a very abrasive, perhaps a legally abusive person who's coming after you. But prayer is going to need to be combined with some other sources of assistance. So at the very least, I want you to consider alerting some of the pastors there at Calvary Chapel. That's a big church with a lot of resources that you need more than prayers.
Yes,
You need help, you need lawyers, guns, and money. You need to get troops surrounding you to help protect you from this woman and the way she's abusing the legal system. So we're coming to a break, but we're going to come back to break this down into some more doable steps so that we can serve you with more than just prayer.
Yeah, so again, the help that's out there, we have, a lot of people are struggling, like, how do I find a therapist? Well, I'm glad you asked. You get online with newlife.com. We have a nationwide network of therapists that are ready to help you. So if you're wondering, where do I go to find a therapist? Start with us. We can help you out with that, and we'll be back right after the break.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, he just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Indianapolis June 10th through the 12th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. The
find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We're talking with Albertina, and just a tragic situation. Albertina, we just feel for you, and we will be praying for you, are praying for you. Alice, you had a term I think was really important that she heard, and that was legal abuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that this is a very dangerous person, and that you need some legal protection and some resources around you. Becky, what else does she need?
Albertina, my heart is breaking for you. I'm a grandmother myself, and we want our grandchildren to thrive, and the loss of your grandson has to be devastating, especially because your goal was to help him. And then, you know, addiction took his life. And so you were not responsible that, you know, his addiction took his life. And I think that the grief that you're having, combined with the overwhelming feeling of, you know, this pressure that you have coming to you, you feel as though you can't let anybody know. You're being bullied by the mother of this grandson. And as hard and as difficult as it is for you to let the father, your son, know about this, you must find a way to let him know what is happening to you. Now, here's a suggestion. Calvary Chapel is a big church. They have lots of staff members, and I think maybe the first step would be to connect with a pastor that you can explain what's happening and say, I need help talking to my son about this. I know your heart is breaking. I can hear your tears. And it's very scary when you're being bullied. I mean, that's basically what's happening. And yet, at the same time, you need to have people around you so that you can get the help you need. Your son, the father of your grandson, needs to be notified because this is his battle. You cannot project or, you know, predict what this bully is going to do, but I guarantee that your son is the one that needs to be handling this. And I don't know, does that sound too overwhelming to you, Albertina, to be able to call a pastor to help you through this?
I will do it, yes.
Very good,
I
very
will get
good.
in contact with them.
Albertina, I get the sense that you are a very self-sufficient person and that you're not a stranger to pain. And I don't think these situations are the first very significant pain you have been through. So you've probably learned to get through on your own, you and God. You can do it, you can handle it. And yet we are also called to at times be a holy burden to the people around us so that they can come alongside us and help us to carry what is an overwhelming load for one person to carry on their own. And it gives the body of Christ a chance to serve and to stand and to fight against evil with you. So I'm so glad you're willing to make that call.
Thank you.
Okay, and Albertina, I have one other thing that's really important, is that you have experienced a traumatic event, and it's still having an effect in your life. As you said, you have almost on a daily basis the picture of your grandson when you found him. That is really a torturous experience. I really, really want you, and that's also a clear sign of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. So I want you to be able to get into some therapy of a trauma specialist. I really think because of the really specific nature of what you experienced, we talk about a lot here on the show, a process called EMDR. Can be very helpful with that. So if you're looking for a therapist, it could even be in our network. See if there's one in your area, and I know there are people in your area that do specialize in EMDR that can help you find a sense of peace and relief and continue walking you through the grief process that you've experienced.
Yeah, and we can connect you with somebody. You know, Albertina, you're not the only one that has been overwhelmed by life. And what I want to say to you is that there is help. Those of us, you know, Chris, Alice, and I are hearing you, and we want to help. And one of the first steps of helping is to hear you. And so we hear the pain that you're in. We know that there is help available, and we'll connect you with a counselor as well. I think so many times when we are isolated and we have a bully, we can feel overwhelmed, we can feel defeated, but there is hope in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So Albertina, thank you so much. And there's one other thing I want to mention this. We are having a Transforming Grief workshop. It's an online workshop. It's May 7th. And this is, again, a program, a workshop that is specifically designed for you and what you're experiencing and to help you along in that process. So please check that out. We're going to send you a copy of the Emotional Freedom Workbook. And again, that will help lead through this process as well. And we will be praying for you. I love your resolve to reach out. Go get help. Go get your people that will help protect you and then guide you and also be your friends. And we definitely need good friends in our lives. Thank you again for calling in to us today, Albertina. And there is a lot going on in our world today, and one of the lot going on is something that we all will experience at some point in our life, and that is loss.
And it's that call and reminder to each of us that if you don't have that community that you can lean on, rely on, reach out to when you go through trauma, you got to build it now.
Yeah.
Because even if you're in a season of peace, and thank God if that applies to you, we always will face another bout of suffering in our lives. And if one person is on their own and they fall, who's there to help them up? So build that community now. Get into therapy now so that you garner the strength and resolve that you'll need to face the next season of suffering in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know, as I was listening to Albertina, I was reflecting on little Becky. There were bullies that lived down the street from us. And there was a strategy that you had to have as you made your way to the bus. And, from an adult perspective, I think, how silly is that? Like, what are they going to do to me? But you know what? And when you're in that spot, just like what she's talking about, you cannot see a way out. And I'm so glad that she called for help. I think that is what I would say to anybody who's listening today, that if you're in a situation, maybe you're not being bullied, maybe you're just overwhelmed, maybe your marriage is a mess, maybe your kids are causing you grief, which that might be most parents, even on a good day. But there is help and there is a process. And like you were just saying, Alice, we have to cultivate community, and it's not always a fixed thing. There are going to be times in our life when we're not going to be as connected due to whatever distractions might be in front of us. But we have to remind ourselves, I need to connect with somebody. I need to call or take the call. And I think that's really going to be one of those ways to build that community.
My husband and I were looking at joining a small group, and we said, we don't have the time to do that. But we can't not do it because it costs us so much to not be in community when we need help around us.
That's exactly right. And because God has designed us as relational people, relational beings, and that there's, as we mentioned earlier, there's only one way to really achieve thriving that God desires for us, and that is in healthy relationship. So it takes relationship. And one of the things that we've just experienced over and over these last couple of years, again, is loss. Obviously the loss of a loved one, but it could be the loss of a job. It could be anything that is valuable and important and significant that we have lost. And again, that's why we have decided that we really got to help more people work through the grief and loss process. So again, check out online workshop May 7th, Transforming Grief. Again, thank you for being with us today, entrusting us with your time, with your thoughts, with your heart, and we will be here to help you all the time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.